Yo, welcome back everybody. I hope you guys are doing well as always. For today's video, I'm going to be breaking down this Destroy Lonely type beat that I made. And to give you guys a sense of what it's going to sound like, I'm going to play a little preview right now. So yeah, this one's still got those like spacey, atmospheric type of vibes that Destroy Lonely uses a lot, but it also has a little bit more like aggressive drums. So yeah, let's go over into FL and I'm gonna show you guys how I made it. All right, so like always, I'm gonna break down the loop first, and we're starting this one at 122 BPM. Using a slower BPM like this can definitely give you some more options as far as like bounce with your drums and stuff. So I actually started this one with a MIDI from Gateway. I know a lot of you guys might say like, oh, how do you use a MIDI on a tutorial, blah, blah. There are no rules to this. You can do whatever you want. I decided to use a MIDI for this one. If it helps your creative process, use MIDIs, make stuff from scratch, whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter. If the beat turns out fire, then that's really all that I care about at the end of the day. So you just do you, and yeah, like I said, there really are no rules. So for that first MIDI, we got Serum, and I'm using this synth preset from one of my new Serum banks that should be coming out, I want to say next month, maybe after that, I'm not sure. It's part of a big collection kit that I'm working on with Kersey. It's gonna have a bunch of different stuff like Serum bank, drum kit, like a shaper box bank. So definitely look out for that. Probably post about it more on Instagram like the closer we get to dropping it, but yeah, a lot of the presets from this beat today are from this new bank. So if you guys are liking how it sounds, let me know. But this first one is that Yale synth, and with that MIDI we get this. So yeah, one reason I actually wanted to use this MIDI and why I picked it was because he kind of separated this MIDI into like two halves almost. So you have this first section that just kind of has like a couple notes. It's super kind of sparse, ambient. And then you have this second section that has more like melodic rhythm as far as the notes go. So that was definitely a big contributor as to why I picked this one. Then this second sound, we are layering the same MIDI pattern. And again, I'm using a preset from that new bank. And this is the synth flavor, and then this is what it's going to sound like with that same MIDI. So I forgot to mention, but on both of those, the only effects that we're using are the Fruity Parametric EQ2, and I just cut the lows out of both. Just to kind of clean up the sound a little bit. Next sound we got is also from that new Serum bank. It's the Synth Beam. And this one I laid down more of just kind of like top line lead-ish pattern. But with that preset, I was sounding like this. So yeah, just really some kind of like accent patterns. On that one, again, we just have the same EQ to cut the lows out. And then for this next sound, I'm actually using a bass from that same, the new kit. It's the crawler bass, and I kind of use this almost as like a low-end accent. So I ended up taking the like bass or like the low tones away from the sample with the EQ. So we're kind of just left with like the mid frequencies, but I liked the way the preset sounded more as like an accent rather than the actual bass of the melody. Yeah, and then the last thing we added was a little bit more of like a rhythmic pattern or like a consistent pattern to kind of tie everything together. And we're using another preset from that new bank, and it's the Pluck Crossed. This one is basically just like a top line ARP pattern with just some like little stabs at the bottom. So yeah, that's it for the entire melody. It's pretty simple, to be honest. It just has some nice switch ups, like I said, with that original MIDI that Gateway did. Just kind of introducing more like melodic elements halfway through the MIDI. just kind of adds like a nice change. So the whole thing is going to sound like this. All right, so now we can move on over to the drum samples. And for this one, I'm using some sounds from my 2025 stash and also from the Destroying Lonely deconstructed drum kit. So first off, we got this sound clap. Pretty basic clap, just has some like more kind of like high-end crisp to it. Then we got this simple hi-hat. For that hi-hat, I actually ended up boosting the high end a little bit in the just like default EQ in the mixer, just to kind of give it a little bit more like crispiness like the other sounds. So then this next sound is actually the same effects from the So High song from the Destroy Lonely album. And you can get all of these sounds in that deconstructed drum kit. And this is like the classic sound that you hear in a lot of like Cody's beats. He like primarily uses it almost as his tag. Then we added the Kansas effects. That's also from the deconstructed kit. And then to kind of go along with that effects, I layered it with a kick. So it just kind of like hits a little bit harder and kind of puts a little bit more emphasis on that effect. Then we added in an open hat, and this was the last of the percussion. I ended up not adding an additional open hat at this starting section like I did here, just because we already have that other effects that plays at the start, so I didn't want them to like overlap. And then finally we got the 808, and I'm using this Japan 808, and this is from a new drum kit that's also going to be a part of that big multi-kit with the Serum bank and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I added just like a secondary pattern for that 808 that plays just at different parts of the beat, but I can show you guys that over in the arrangement. So this is the arrangement of everything. I did already export the loop. I can show you guys the loop like arrangement. It's really nothing crazy. This is pretty much all it looks like. I have most of the sounds playing the whole time, like these top two main aspects. And then for just certain sections, I took away like the little accenting notes. And then for the last section, I took away that ARP and then the stab notes. And that just kind of acts as sort of like almost like a little bit of like an emptiness to the end of the melody to then be able to bring back in the rest of the sounds when it repeats. So it just kind of makes it hit a little bit harder. But then yeah, looking at the drum arrangement, nothing really too crazy. Just kind of cut some sounds away here and there. But like I said, the whole beat pretty much plays like the main elements of your beat. So like the clap, the 808, and the hi-hat, those are all playing throughout the whole thing. And then really you just take away like little effects or little accent snares and whatnot. And then I also added that looperator trick that I do all the time on the master that kind of like stutters the end of the 8 bars. And yeah, and then I also just added in this extra like noise fall effects. This is also from that deconstructed kit. So yeah, that's it for the whole beat. And then I also did just add an acapella for fun because I wanted to see if it would sound good as like a Destroy Lonely song. And if you guys want that, deconstructed kit also has all of the acapellas from Lone's new album. So if you're interested in like kind of doing this yourself, definitely go get that kit. I don't think I can really play this on the video, otherwise I'll get like copyrighted, but I'll leave a link in the description if you guys wanted to listen to this like remix, I guess, or whatever, or what it would sound like with the acapella on it. That's gonna do it for me for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed or learned some. A little bit of a shorter video, but I just like this beat, wanted to show you guys. I think me and A-Shark are gonna actually do another collab video soon here on the new Can Can album. It was full of like a bunch of trap beats and stuff like that, and I know Shark is super good at those melodies, so hopefully he can make something for that, and then I'll drum it. But yeah, It's gonna do it for this one. Like I said, follow me on Instagram, join my Discord, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.